Hello everyone. Today we'll be discussing about the occlusal development or the periods of occlusal development. Topic development of occlusion मतलब क्या है? What is the basic meaning of development of occlusion? मतलब whenever the child takes birth, right from the moment the birth is taking place, there is no teeth in the oral cavity. Now after some time he or she will develop the first milk teeth, after that the rest of the teeth, and then the milk teeth will shed and the permanent teeth will take its place. So this entire sequence of erupting, shedding and again erupting, this entire sequence is termed as periods of occlusal development. कैसे कैसे मिल्क टीथ आएंगे, फिर मिल्क टीथ झरेंगे, उसके साथ परमानेंट टीथ आएंगे, राइट? दिस एंटायर सीक्वेंस is termed as periods of occlusal development. So for the convenience, it is divided into 4 periods. Okay. First is the predental period. Second is the deciduous dentition period. After that, there is mixed dentition period, and then there is permanent dentition, right? So as you can see, the names only suggest their meaning, right? First is, you see, predental period, matlab the period before the eruption of any single teeth in the oral cavity, right? इसका मतलब है कि from the moment the child is taking birth till the eruption of the first deciduous teeth, that period is the predental period. मतलब बर्थ से पहला मिल्क टीथ इरप्ट होने तक का टाइम को बोलते हैं प्रीडेंटल पीरियड, राइट? सो प्रीडेंटल पीरियड के बाद आती है डेसिडियस डेंटिशन. डेसिडियस डेंटिशन मतलब हो गया द मोमेंट द फर्स्ट मिल्क टीथ अराइजेस इन द ओरल कैविटी. द मोमेंट the first milk teeth arises in the oral cavity, it marks the beginning of the deciduous dentition, right? Then after that the other teeth will erupt, right? 5 teeth in each quadrant. Okay, the moment all the teeth are erupted in the oral cavity, after that what will happen? It will be the mixed dentition. Now mixed dentition मतलब क्या है कि 5 20 teeth तो है मुंह में, right? 20 milk teeth are already there, right? After that, when even one single permanent teeth has erupted in the oral cavity, apart from the 20 deciduous teeth, one single permanent teeth erupts in the oral cavity, that means it is no longer a deciduous dentition, right? Because 20 teeth are deciduous but one teeth is permanent, so it is mixed dentition, a mixture of deciduous dentition as well as some primary teeth, right? This begins the mixed dentition. Mixed dentition begins when first means one single permanent teeth erupts, it begins the mixed dentition period. After that, during the mixed dentition period, what happens? The permanent teeth are erupting and the deciduous teeth are shedding. The permanent teeth erupting, deciduous teeth shedding. The moment all the deciduous teeth are shed, only permanent teeth are there in the oral cavity, that moment begins the permanent dentition period. I think this is clear. Predental, deciduous, mixed and permanent dentition. Now we will move on to the time period. The time period is very important. It can be asked in Viva also and in NEET PG exams also, right? So the predental period, as said earlier, it starts from the birth only, right? Birth of the child marks the beginning of the predental period. And till 6 months, okay? 6 months of age, it is the predental period. The oral cavity is devoid of any teeth, any tooth. From 6th month, okay, from 6th months to 6 years is the deciduous dentition period, right? 6th month is the time when the first milk teeth erupts in the oral cavity. So it begins the deciduous dentition period, okay? It continues till 6 years because in this period only milk teeth are there. But by 6 years of age, the child develops the first permanent teeth in the oral cavity. The first permanent teeth erupts at 6 years of age. Okay, 6 years of age में पहला permanent teeth मुंह में आ जाता है apart from the milk teeth. So it begins the mixed dentition period. Mix हो गया, अब वो purely deciduous नहीं रहा. From 6 years of age till 12 years of age, what happens? The deciduous teeth are shed and at the same time, simultaneously, the permanent teeth erupts. So 6 years to 12 years, the deciduous teeth are shed and permanent teeth erupt. So this continues the period of mixed dentition period, right? By 12 years of age, all the deciduous teeth are shed and all the permanent teeth have erupted in the oral cavity. So, from 12 years, it marks the beginning of the permanent dentition, right? From 12 years, it marks the beginning of the permanent dentition. I think this part is clear. Now we will discuss each of these periods separately. So coming to the predental period. As described earlier, predental period is the period after birth during which the neonates does not have any teeth, right? And its duration is 6 months after birth. Now what is the characteristic feature of the predental period? Since predental period there are nothing, no teeth is there, the only characteristic feature is the presence of the alveolar process which will bear the teeth in future. The alveolar processes are called gum pads. This is the upper gum pad, this is the lower gum pad. So what it says, characteristic feature of the predental period is the alveolar process at the time of birth which are called the gum pads. Now how are these gum pads? These gum pads are pink, firm and covered by dense layer of fibrous periosteum. Now what is periosteum? Periosteum means the layer that covers the bone, right? Periosteum, peri means above, osteum means bone. The fibrous layer that covers the bone. Okay. So now we will see the structural features of both of these gum pads, right? Now coming to the gum pads are horseshoe shaped. You can see that horseshoe shaped. And they develop in two parts, right? First is the labiobuccal portion and then there is the lingual portion. If you see, this is the labiobuccal portion and this is the lingual portion, right? Towards the tongue, towards the palate is the lingual portion. Labiobuccal portion and the lingual portion. Now, okay, there will be another point here. Labiobuccal portion develops earlier, right? Labiobuccal portion develops earlier. So I'll write it here. This one develops earlier. Okay. Labiobuccal portion develops earlier. Now these two portions, the labiobuccal portion and the lingual portion, are separated by a groove. There are 2-3 grooves that you need to remember here. The labiobuccal and the lingual portion are separated by dental groove, right? This is the dental groove. You can see it here. This is the dental groove. Dental groove separates the labiobuccal portion from the lingual portion, right? And next is gum pads are separated into 10 segments by transverse grooves. These are the transverse grooves. This one, this one, this one. These are the transverse grooves. Now why this gum pad is separated into 10 segments? Because in each jaw there will be 10 deciduous teeth, right? So the entire gum pad is divided into 10 segments by transverse grooves. And each segment will have what? One developing deciduous tooth sac, right? Each segment will have one developing deciduous tooth sac, right? They will be developing into the future deciduous teeth, right? Each of the segments will have one developing deciduous tooth sac. Okay. Next is what? Gum pad is separated from palate and floor of the mouth by gingival groove. This is the palate and floor of the mouth. So this line, this one, this is the gingival groove. Gingival groove separates the gum pad from the palate and floor of the mouth, right? So what grooves you have studied till now? One is the dental groove which separates the labiobuccal portion from the lingual portion. One is the transverse groove which separates each developing deciduous tooth sacs, right? 10 transverse grooves. And the other one is the gingival groove which separates the gum pad from the palate and the floor of the mouth. Now there will be another one important landmark, that will be the lateral sulcus, right? If you see the labeling, lateral sulcus is the transverse groove. It is also a transverse groove, but the transverse groove between the canine and the first deciduous molar, right? So transverse groove between the canine and the first deciduous molar is called the lateral sulcus. Now why this particular transverse groove is named differently? Because it has some importance. Now what is this? What is the importance of the lateral sulcus? it helps in judging or establishing the inter-arch relationship in the very early stage. Now this is the diagram of the gum pads from an lateral occlusal view. See, this is the maxillary gum pad, this is the mandibular gum pad. So lateral sulcus helps in judging the inter-arch relation in very early stage. If we can see the diagram, the lateral sulcus, LS is lateral sulcus. Lateral sulcus of the mandibular gum pad is usually more distal to that of maxillary gum pad, right? So lateral sulcus of the mandibular gum pad is more distal to that of the maxillary gum pad, right? You should remember this. Okay. Now we will discuss some more points about this diagram. Okay. The upper gum pad is both wider and longer than the lower gum pad. When both the gum pads are approximated, there is overjet all around and only the distal portion near the molars are in contact. This situation is called as infantile open bite. This is the infantile open bite, right? Now infantile open bite is considered absolutely normal. Okay? Infantile open bite is considered absolutely normal. And why it is normal? Because it helps the infant in breastfeeding or suckling, right? The infantile open bite helps in suckling. Okay. Now during the first year, rapid growth occurs in the posterior region, right? And rapid growth occurs in the posterior region, the gum pads become wider. Why? To accommodate the deciduous molars, right? To accommodate the deciduous molars, the erupting deciduous molars, the deciduous molars that are about to erupt. In order to accommodate them, during the first year, rapid growth occurs in the posterior region. And also, this overjet also decreases, right? Overjet decreases by forward movement of mandible. Okay, forward movement of mandible. So overjet also decreases by forward movement of mandible, right? Now there are two terms. One is natal teeth and the other is neonatal teeth. So what is natal teeth? Sometimes teeth are present at the time of birth only, right? At time of birth. Means children are born with developed teeth. These are called as natal teeth. Now what is neonatal teeth? Teeth that are formed during the first month. Okay? First month after birth. They are called as neonatal teeth. Okay? Natal teeth is formed at the time of birth only, and neonatal teeth are those teeth which are formed during the first month after birth, right? These are commonly found in which region? These are commonly found in the mandibular incisor region, right? These are found in the mandibular incisor region, and it is a familial tendency. Okay, it is a familial tendency or familial trait, right? This finishes the pre-dental period. Now coming to the deciduous dentition, right? So deciduous dentition begins at 6 to 7 months of age with the eruption of the mandibular central incisors. So which are the first teeth to erupt in the oral cavity? The mandibular central incisors, right? Second is the eruption sequence of deciduous teeth. A, B, D, C, E. If you remember the tooth numbering system, the first incisor means the central incisors, lateral incisors, deciduous first molar, then the deciduous canine, and then the deciduous second molar. A, B, D, C, E. Okay. Usually, the deciduous dentition is established by 2.5 to 3 years of age. Okay. With the eruption of the last teeth, that is the deciduous second molar, right? After 3 years, from 3 to 6 years, the dental arch is relatively stable and very few changes occur here, right? Next, we will study the features of deciduous dentition. Now coming to the most important feature of the deciduous dentition, that is the spacing, right? So spacing के बारे में थोड़ा बात करते हैं. This is a sample of deciduous dentition. So as you can see, there are some amount of space between each of the deciduous teeth, right? So these spaces are called as developmental or physiological spaces, right, between each deciduous teeth. Now what is the importance of these spaces? It is very important for the normal development of the upcoming permanent dentition, right? This space is required for the normal development of upcoming permanent dentition. Why? See, if you have studied in first year, the deciduous teeth are smaller in proportions and size than the permanent teeth, right? Means the permanent teeth are comparatively bigger than the deciduous teeth. Now when these deciduous teeth will shed and permanent teeth will come, they will need more space in the dental arch, right? So to accommodate them properly, these spaces are very important, right? If these spaces are not there, it indicates a possible future crowding in the permanent dentition. Means absence of these physiological spaces indicates crowding in the permanent dentition, and it is very much more significant in the anterior region. If I could show you my teeth also, there is crowding in my anterior region. Okay, so physiological spaces का importance ये है कि they are very important for the normal development of the permanent dentition, and absence of physiological spaces signifies that there will be crowding in the upcoming permanent dentition, right? So there are two terms. One is the open dentition and another is the closed dentition, right? So what is open dentition? Open dentition means where the deciduous dentition has physiological spaces. So space अगर present है in deciduous dentition, if space is present, then it is called as open dentition, right? Open dentition, right? If the physiological spaces are absent, then it is called as closed dentition, right? तो closed dentition में crowding होगी future में, right? Open dentition में chances of crowding are less, right? Now there is another specific space that is called as primate space, also called as simian space or anthropoid space. It is particularly found in class Primata, so that's why it is called as primate space. This space is the space present mesial to the maxillary canine and distal to the mandibular canine. If you can see, the space which is, this is the maxillary canine, the space which is mesial to the maxillary canine and distal to the mandibular canine, this one and this one, these are called the anthropoid spaces or primate spaces. Why this is mentioned separately? Because it is very important for establishing the canine relationship after eruption of the first deciduous molars. When canines are erupting, when first this one will erupt, right? Central A, then B, then D. Okay, first deciduous molars. After that the canines will erupt. So this space, the simian space, is very important for establishing the canine relationship. See, the molar relationship is not very stable or very authentic in case of deciduous dentition, like it is in for the permanent dentition. Permanent dentition में आगे हम लोग पढ़ेंगे कि permanent dentition में molar relation is very important. It establishes the angles class 1, class 2, class 3. But here in deciduous dentition, the molar relationship is not reliable. But which one is more reliable is the canine relationship. We will discuss canine relationship later. But for now, the primate space or the simian space, that is the space mesial to the maxillary canine and distal to the mandibular canine, this space is very important for establishing the class 1 canine relationship, right? Now coming to the other features of deciduous dentition. So the first is the flush terminal plane, then there is deep bite, flat curve of spee, wide U-shaped dental arch and the vertically placed incisors, right? So what is this flush terminal plane? Before coming to flush terminal plane, let us understand what is terminal plane, right? So terminal plane is something called the mesiodistal relationship between the distal surfaces of upper and lower second deciduous molars. It is the definition. इसको simple करते हैं. So terminal plane is the mesiodistal relationship between the distal surfaces of upper and lower second deciduous molar. मतलब ये upper second deciduous molar, lower second deciduous molar, इनका जो ये distal surface है, the distal surfaces कैसे place हो रहे हैं, how they are placed in relation to each other. This is something called as terminal plane, right? So what is flush terminal plane? This flush terminal plane is a characteristic of the deciduous dentition. So we'll discuss this in detail, don't worry, in mixed dentition period. For now, this is the terminal plane is the relation between the distal surface of upper second molar and lower second molar. Now in case of primary dentition, what happens? You see the distal surfaces are in one plane or one line. This particular arrangement of the distal surfaces is called as flush terminal plane or vertical terminal plane. Means when the distal surface of upper second deciduous molar, lower second molar are in one plane or one line, this is called as flush terminal plane or vertical terminal plane. This is a feature of the deciduous dentition, right? And then there are other two types of plane, that is called as mesial step terminal plane, distal step terminal plane, that we'll explain in mixed dentition, right? Next is the flat curve of Spee. So curve of Spee, if you remember, it is a short essay that is asked in ortho also, okay? And you will have studied it in first year also. So curve of Spee is something, an anatomical curve. So anatomical curve starting from the cusp tip of bicuspids, right? Starting from the cusp tip of bicuspids, going through the occlusal cusp tips of molars and through the ramus of mandible through the condyle. So basically this is the curve of Spee. In adults, the curve of Spee is like this. It is actually a curve, right? And it forms a circle of 4 inch in diameter, right? Agar imaginary hai, if we extend this, it will form a circle of 4 inch in diameter, right? But in case of deciduous dentition, it is in adult dentition, right? Permanent dentition. But deciduous dentition, the curve of Spee is, you can see it is relatively flat. So it is another feature of deciduous dentition. So this is flush terminal plane or vertical terminal plane. This is curve of Spee, flat curve of Spee. Next is the vertically inclined incisors. The incisors are more vertically inclined, right? In case of permanent dentition, the incisors are kind of placed like this, okay? This is the placement, okay? But here it is more vertically placed, okay? Now the next point is wide U-shaped dental arch, and next is deep bite. So you can see this is deep bite. This is deep bite. So deep bite is a very important feature in the deciduous dentition, in the early stages of deciduous dentition, when the molars, the deciduous molars are not erupted. So this is deep bite. What happens in deep bite? The incisal edge of the mandibular central incisor touches the cingulum, okay, occludes with the cingulum of the maxillary central incisor. Now deep bite is relieved to some extent in the later stages. How? In 3 cases the deep bite is relieved. One is the attrition of the incisors. Attrition means wearing off the incisor portions, right? It was deep, much more deep earlier. Now it is like this. So deep bite is reduced with the attrition of incisors. Second case is the forward placement of the mandible or forward growth of the mandible. Placement, not forward growth of the mandible. With the forward growth of the mandible, deep bite will reduce. Okay, second case. And third case will be the with the eruption of the deciduous second molars also, deep bite will reduce. So 3 conditions where the deep bite will be reduced are attrition of the incisors, forward growth of the mandible, and the third is the eruption of the second deciduous molars, right? So this finishes the deciduous dentition. Now we'll move to the mixed dentition period.